Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Kayak Cliff. Today I'm reviewing the new, or it's been out for probably a little less than a year, the new Longboard 11 or the LB11 from Sea Eagle. So yes, we're paddleboarding today, and there's been some big improvements to the old existing longboard paddleboard with Sea Eagle to this new LB11 model. And we're going to be paddling the beautiful Chassahowissa Springs. So we're not just going to sit in a parking lot and talk about a kayak. We're going to get out in the water and explore. And I'll stop here and there and just give you, my thoughts on this board and what they've improved on it and why I think it's better and why I think it's a great board. So stay tuned. Let's get out on the water. Okay, one of the big things about Chassahowissa Springs, as in all the springs in Florida, is there's manatees. And right off the dock, you got a mama and child here. There's mama. We're going right over her. Poor thing has a prop scar on her. And there's the baby. They're just eating grass. They just travel around all day eating grass. Total herbivores, the whales of the springs. It is so cool being able to stand up on a paddleboard and be able to see these beautiful creatures. Back off and give them some space here. I'd say that big mama's got to be, she's got to be 10 to 12 feet. So yeah, that's gorgeous, and I think we'll see a bunch more today. But boy, with this sun out today and these polarized sunglasses I have on, it's a beautiful sight. And right up here you kind of see a different color of water, and it's kind of smooth, like it's boiling up to the surface. Well, that's exactly what's happening. It is boiling up to the surface, and it's boiling up with millions of gallons of fresh water. So that's one of the first springs. That's a pretty large spring, and it's pretty deep down there, probably 25, 30 feet. But then you see it gets much shallower up here. And we're heading back to Seven Sisters. We'll get back here, and I'll get on the shoreline first and talk about this Longboard 11. Which I've had for a good 6 months and absolutely love it. It's a huge improvement over the last one. The last one was a little unstable for me. And they're calling this a hybrid Longboard 11 paddleboard. So it's something you can kayak on, you can stand up paddle, you can do yoga, you can fish, you can do all types of things. And it's pretty fast too. I'm pretty amazed. I like that kayaking setup. I like it with that chair. That's awesome. The beauty with these paddle boards is you can stand up on them. Today I have a cooler behind me, or a dry box behind me that I'm using as a seat. That's one of my favorite ways to do it. But also there's a kayak seat that they sell for this, or that guy that we just passed, he put a darn low-lying lawn chair in there, and is doing really well with it. So here you see the holes coming out of the ground, and these holes are where the other springs are. These are the Seven Sisters. So I'm gonna find a little bit quieter area to talk, but again, take you around these Seven Sisters, you can see them better. Look at this big hole here. It's pumping some serious water in. And again, like I said before, it's always nice the perspective that you get standing up on a paddleboard. You don't get the sense of the grandeur and how clear the water is and how striking these spring heads are. Again, here I'll go back over this one here real quick, and you see all the fish, and it's just nice being able to stand up and then also sit down if you want to. There we go. Now, as you can see, it's pretty crowded back here now, and my hopes were that it was going to be less crowded coming out on a weekday, and that's when I like to come to these things. I like to come out on weekdays, you know, a lot less crowded. As the summer months get close, which we're in May right now, we're getting into the summer months. Weekends, you definitely don't want to be out here. But weekdays, absolutely gorgeous, and you pretty much have the lay of the land.
This video made possible by Sea Eagle, inflatable kayaks, canoes, boards, and watercraft. Kayak, high-performance packable touring kayaks. Astral, high-performance PFDs and water footwear. Shelta, the best sun hats available, period. Helinox, quality, ultralight camping furniture. Nutsac, classic, quality, masculine, everyday carry bags. Brompton, the iconic, quality British folding bike. Thank you for purchasing off my affiliate links. They make this channel possible.
They say winds today are 10 to 15 miles an hour. You probably don't hear on the microphone because I got a wind buster on there, but not paddling too badly, especially if you can use the trees to your advantage to help camouflage you from the wind. But 10 to 15 miles an hour, I'm probably going into a 10 mile an hour wind now, and not bad, not too bad at all. Again, the sights are incredible. So let's talk about it. Why Sea Eagle longboard? Well, you know, if you have kayaks of theirs, you know, Sea Eagle's been around for 50 plus years now. I think they're in their 51st year. They've been making inflatables for over 50 years. And to me, that's incredible. If I'm going to put my faith in a bladder of air to transport me on my adventures, I want somebody who knows how to make those bladders of air. And that's what Sea Eagle does. It's not just a cheap product off Amazon or a Chinese company that's you know, selling something here in the States that it's not tested, it's not proven. The Sea Eagle is. So number one, that's what I like about Sea Eagle. This longboard, they have taken it and increased the width by 2 inches. They decreased the thickness by 1 inch. It used to be 6 inches, now it's 5 inches thick. You might think that's not good, but in actuality it is, and I'll get to that. It is 11 feet long, 32 inches wide, and 5 inches thick. It's great for paddlers that are 200 pounds and less. Can it hold more than that? Sure, but it's going to perform the best if you're 200 pounds and less. As you can see, I'm 190. I have probably a 15-pound dry box behind me that I'm using as a seat, and with my life jacket, I probably have 220 pounds on here right now. But that's more evenly distributed. All they're saying is just a center weight of mass more than 200 pounds is probably not as ideal for this particular paddleboard. Now the LB11, it's called a fusion drop stitch. And this drop stitch is 1,000 denier, which is a very, very thick, durable outer body layer that resists punctures and abrasion, and does very well when you know, rubbing against rocks in a river or something like that. It's drop stitch, and what we mean by drop stitch is that the two outer parts of the bladder that's 5 inches thick, there's woven fibers in there. And those woven fibers pull against each other. And those woven fibers are about 5 inches thick. And they allow you to get very high PSIs. The pounds per square inch, or PSI, inflation pressure for the LB11 is 10 to 15 pounds. And being that it is an inch thinner, you know, most of your paddle boards that you look at are going to be 6 inches thick. Well, that's an inch higher center of gravity. And when you increase your center of gravity, you increase your instability as well. And if it's on a craft like a paddleboard that you're going to be standing up on, you're already increasing that center of gravity. So why have a board that is an inch thicker or an inch higher out of the water? That just increases the instability in the craft alone. And I found this board at 32 inches to be extremely stable, probably a little stable, or as stable, or maybe even more than a 34-inch wide board that's 6 inches thick. So, you know, number one, you got the reputation of Sea Eagle. They know how to make inflatables. Number two, they've taken this board, and with this fusion drop stitch, they've also added to it a fusion layer, which is when they make boats, they have stringers, and stringers are the reinforcing ribs that make a boat, give it its strength. Well, they've put a rib on here in the form of a stringer, and they've fused it to the drop stitch surface, and it makes the board even stiffer. So in light of the fact that it's a thinner board, it's also a stronger board. And again, you can feel that when you paddle it. Boy, I feel like I'm paddling back in time when I go back these little spring-fed creeks. Just nobody back here, except the fish. There's just mullet and sheephead and manatees, and I haven't seen another manatee, but just a ton of life back here. And again, we're making our way back to something called the Crack. Last time I came here, the tide was low and I wasn't able to get back here, so I'm excited to get back here again. Kind of up ahead of us, there's a deeper spot, and it has that pale green color. So there's got to be a springhead down here, or at least very deep with a lot of sand. Pretty nonetheless. Oh, look at this. You see some mullet swimming in front of us? Lots of schools of mullet. They do well in fresh and salt water. And of course, for you that asked, there's alligators back here. Alligators in Florida typically leave you alone. Since this spring heads out to the Gulf of Mexico, you also get sharks that come up here. So one of the sharks that does well in freshwater is bull sharks. So there's just a hodgepodge of everything that comes up these spring-fed rivers, particularly in light of the fact that they don't have to hit a dam or anything and get up over a dam. Because we're only about 4 or 5 miles from the Gulf by boat. Okay, here it chokes off and narrows. It's real shallow. I say we're probably 2/3 of the way up to the Crack. And the Crack is the last spring on this river right here, this little creek that we're on. But a real picturesque area is from what I remember in the past. The other thing I like about paddle boards is their extreme portability. This paddle board only weighs 27 pounds and very light to pick up. It rolls up and then you just strap it together like a burrito, and it rolls up into a nice roll. It comes with a backpack if you want to put it in there, but I rarely do. I just roll it up and dry it out and roll it up and store it for my next adventure. But one thing on this trip to Florida, I'm going to be in my Boston Whaler quite a bit on some other adventures, and we're going to just show how easy it is to take this paddleboard and pull up to really cool areas that you want to paddleboard explore. Just inflate it from your boat, get in the water and go out and explore, and then come back to your boat, deflate it and roll it back up and continue on in your journey. And of course, you can do it with the Sea Eagle kayaks as well, like the Easy Light 10 is another great, extremely light product that's like 26 pounds. Actually, I think they just reduced it to 25 pounds now, so it's even lighter than when I did a review on it. But a drop stitch kayak, that is a wonderful product to have on a boat or in your small pickup or in your small car, to just pull out whenever the opportunity arises and do some paddling adventures. I'm paddling a little slower than I normally would because I have a 360 camera mounted to a pole sticking off the hull of the boat. And that 360 camera, if I really hunker down and paddle hard, it just shakes. So I'm trying to limit the shake for you guys while I'm doing this. But hopefully you're enjoying the scenery because it is gorgeous. Wow, just look at this. Look how wild it is. There's nobody back here. There's probably going to be somebody when we get back to the crack because there's always somebody back there, but just total wild Florida seclusion. See if my camera will make it up underneath this this tree. I think it will. Come on, baby. Yep, it did. So did I. Tell you, if you ever have days that are windy and you don't want to be out in the open, whether you live on a creek or you live on the bays of Florida or wherever you are, I mean, whether you live on lakes or you know, big open bays where it's too windy and you can't paddle, just look for the rivers, and or look for a piece of land that is shielded by the wind. And then, you know, you can get out and paddle just about whenever you want to. I can really hear the trees rustling above my head with the wind that we have today. But the good thing here in Florida, for my next 3 days of filming, we're going to have 5 to 10 mile an hour winds. So I am really looking forward to that. Okay, I'm just going to sit down now because it is getting really overgrown as we approach the crack here. And I have my dry box situated pretty far back, which is putting a lot of weight towards the back of the boat. So it doesn't want to track as well. You really want your weight evenly distributed in the center of this boat or this hull of this or this paddleboard. But yeah, we're approaching the crack right now. I'm gonna hop out and just walk. Okay, let's talk here about the LB11, the actual features. You have a really nice grab handle right here in the bow of the boat. This is a rod holder that I put on. It's a Scotty mount that glues onto the hull, and I use it for a camera mount. This rod mount is actually holding the camera, so I'm using it as a camera mount today. Again, you have really nice bungee straps up in the front to bungee down dry bags or whatever you want. I just have my pump here today. Then you have a big area of EVA foam, and this gives you good grippiness. And that EVA foam, it goes all the way back to the stern of the boat. So just real nice and soft to sit on, to stand on, and gives you really good grippiness. They've added a paddle holder, which is Velcro. So if you want to run an extra kayak paddle up the middle, if you want a kayak paddle later, or if you just want it to hold your paddle when you're walking down to the boat to the dock, you have that. You have two of these straps. Now you have a center carrying strap, which is typically where you carry the boat. You just put it up alongside you and grip it and pick it up and carry it. That's one thing I really love about a paddleboard. I find that my dry box or cooler sits best when I put it back where this yellow part of the EVA foam is, and then I stand kind of between the center carrying strap, and that gives me real good stability at 190 pounds. You have your inflation port in the back here, and a Sea Eagle mega pump is what I use, and here's some footage on the screen of it going up. But it only takes about 5 minutes to pump this thing up with the mega pump. It is wonderful. You have a D-ring in the back, and then also, if you're going to use a kayak seat or to really strap anything down, you can pop carabiners in these tabs here. There's 4 tabs, 1, 2, and then 3 and 4. And that's where your kayak seat will lash down for when you're out on it. Now, I was talking about the reinforcing stringers that make this 5-inch boat, so this 5-inch paddleboard, so flotacious. Basically, it's 5 inches, so it's a heck of a lot more stable. But the fused or fusion stringer layer starts here in the front and in the back, and it goes all the way under the EVA foam and comes out right here. You can see this fused layer, and it comes all the way up to the curved bow. And this is what gives it its rigidity. It allows you to take a 5-inch board and make it more rigid, and make it more flotacious, and make it more stable. And that's what the fusion layer does. And I really love the colors that they've done at Sea Eagle on this new board. It's, you got the topographical lines on the side of the boat and down that stringer. And just all in all, this is a wonderful, wonderful paddleboard. And okay, here's one thing I've noticed. Because this board is 5 inches, you notice how my feet are basically as if I'm standing on water. I'm not raised that extra 1 inch, and that realization alone gave me the thought that that's the key thing that makes this more stable. As you can see, pretty much even with the water level. Okay, the Sea Eagle high back seats are real nice, and you can order these in a package. And the way I find they work best with these tabs here is just get yourself some carabiners. And the carabiners go in those tabs a lot better, and you can get little stainless steel ones or plastic ones. I like these plastic ones as well. But get yourself 4 carabiners, and it hooks up a heck of a lot more efficiently. And then you just tighten it down with your straps. Do this last one over here, and then you basically want to pull on the straps to make sure everything's nice and tight, and then you're ready to go. But this high back seat gives really good back support. It's the same high back seat that they have in all their kayaks, and really interested to see how well this paddles. I have a 230 centimeter paddle, aquabound paddle, and I have the rear skegs in, and I'm gonna pull these straps a little tighter, and we're off. I was really interested to see if is this really truly a hybrid paddleboard, and wow, initially I think it is. It tracks like a dream, and I can just paddle like I paddle a kayak. There's no foot pegs, but I feel, I'm not out to try to win a race or anything. These Loyak shoes here you can see them even better. They're great. But the paddles extremely well. Now let me see, in the stability, it's like I'm on a dock. I mean, it doesn't want to go anywhere. But then again, it's 32 inches wide, which in the scheme of things with kayaks isn't too wide. But let's see how it turns. if I do some real wide arcing turns, it turns. It wants to stay. It wants to stay on a straight course. But if you, of course, I don't like to turn like this, although you can see how well that's turning. It stops you though. You're better off turning by doing a wide arcing turn, and then you don't lose your momentum. So I would say this paddles as fast as the Easy Light 10. You can paddle very efficiently with this, and because it's a paddleboard, you know, you can actually, if you want to change your leg position, you can sit more Indian style, or you can sit, you know, more with your feet out. But the beauty with this is you can break apart your kayak paddle, lash it to the floor, do your stand-up paddling, and if you don't want to put a cooler behind you, just put the seat in without a cooler, and maybe put a small soft-sided cooler in the very back. But put this seat here and then stand up. As long as you stand up right in front of the seat, then you can grab a paddleboard paddle and paddleboard. And then when you get tired, or you want a different way, you just want a different, you know, scenery or whatever, you just sit down in your kayak seat, grab your kayak paddle, and you're off kayak paddling. So, yeah, I would say this is a darn nice, you know, hybrid board. Fish from it, stand up paddle from it, sit down paddle, sit on a cooler paddle, stable enough to do yoga on if that's your thing. But here I'm turning around nice and neat. I find that it turns around much easier if you don't have any forward momentum. So if I'm real slow, I can turn it real easy. But then once you hunker down and get some speed, it wants to lock on course. And turning, you know, you're going to need to do some, again, wide arc turns with your paddle. I'll get you a different perspective here. You know, we're over the spring head right now. And you can see I got some pretty good speed. Very efficient to paddle. I'm really impressed. And again, I think the 5 inches in the board really lends itself to the stability, because you're an inch lower and more even with the water, rather than sitting higher above the water. And I swear some of those 6-inch boards, they look like they're sometimes 7 inches thick or 8 inches thick, because the people are just so high up on them. But yeah, big A plus for me with regards to you know, paddling it like a kayak. Okay, I'm out paddling back to the main river now, and I want to thank, a particular notice is Astral, ASTRAL. I am wearing their water shoes, the Loyak water shoes. Absolutely love them. And this is my favorite kayaking, paddling PFD. It's called the EV8, and I'll put a link in the description box for both of these. I'm also wearing my Shelta sun hat, and normally I have my Shelta sun gloves on. I forgot to put them on, but Shelta makes the best sun hats I've ever used, without a doubt. And this particular hat, it actually has a shield that you can attach to it as well. I just don't have it on today. I'll have it on another day this week. But you know, I appreciate you coming and coming with me on this little adventure / product review of the LB11. If you like what you see, you know, whether it's the Loyak water shoes I'm wearing from Astral, or this EV8 PFD, I absolutely love this PFD. It has a very high back, so it never gets in the way of my my seat back on my kayak. It's also heavily ventilated, which is nice in warmer months. But you know, I don't charge for the videos. I don't have a Patreon account. I don't do anything like that. The only thing that supports my YouTube channel are you clicking on my affiliate links. And all my affiliate links are in the description box for this Sea Eagle LB11 board, all my other favorite products, and all my favorite products are also at my website, kayakcliff.com. So check them both out. And again, that's the only thing that supports my channel and makes it possible to get out here and do these things. I love spending time with you guys and showing you new things and new destinations. And we're going to be doing more this week here in Florida. So again, thanks for watching. God's blessings to you and your families. Kayak Cliff out. I hope to see you on the water sometime.